When I say he's a grifter, I'm not saying that because I'm being charitable to him. When I say he's a grifter, I'm saying that because it's the truth. If the pendulum were to swing back and he realized that his audience was cratering, he would tamper down on this kind of sentiment. Your colleague Roach is okay with this? Yes, I've seen people spreading this video around. Apparently, Nick Fuentes, the prominent neo-Nazi Nick Fuentes, talked about how Trump should use force to crush his political opposition. I was going to cover the Nick Fuentes stuff later, but I guess this is directly related. Let's take a look at what Nick Fuentes said and then what Asmongold said.
Maybe this is controversial, but they have to crush the other side.
That's right. Oh, that's right. 100%.
You have to, because you can do one of two things. You cannot challenge the left.
That's
and
right.
let them do their thing.
And then they're going to just run you over, and eventually when they get power, they're going to crush you.
Or you can utterly confront them and defeat them. And
you destroy them completely. Destroy everything about them. Put the mayors in jail. Put the governors up on the Insurrection Act for sedition. Put all of the people that were doing the shit in front of the detention centers. Put them in mandatory prison labor camps. Any of them that are violent, authorize the police officers to respond with violence to them. Immediately, completely shut it down. Bring in the military if you need to. Bring in the National Guard. Do whatever you need to do. Look and find out who's funding this. Take those people, charge them with incitement for terrorism, put them in Guantanamo Bay. Like, I'm talking about scorched earth, Old Testament. Get them out.
This is just maximalist fascist rage bait. It's so low ever. I know. I mean, what can you say? This is what a weak person does, okay? When you're weak, you want the government to exercise power against those you have ordained as your enemies. That's it. That's it. And for the people who say, wait, what do you mean? Isn't this a call to violence? Of course, but it is not seen as a call to violence because he is demanding that the government do this violence. This is why right-wingers always get away with broad, sweeping calls for violence because they can just lean on the pre-existing structures of violence coming from the state and demand more of it. Okay, it's extra annoying because I know he stutters when he orders at a restaurant. Yeah, it is incredibly performative. This is a somewhat agoraphobic individual who is terrified of taking showers, talking a big game about like violently throwing into work camps, labor camps, gulags, the political opposition of the administrative state. I mean, this is literally how people like Asmongold and many others think China operates, right? That's what this is. This is objectively un-American, at least in theory and in principle as well. That's all it is. But good luck explaining that to people. Asmongold went viral saying he wants Trump's political opposition to be killed or enslaved. Responding to the controversy, Asmongold insisted this was a moderate position. Then he doubled down, saying Trump isn't extreme enough, he would consume the flesh of his enemies.
And by the way, my position is the moderate position. There are a lot of people in the audience that want to do way worse than that. A lot of people in the country that do. Yeah, 1 hour ago, 1,000 comments. Oh, people are crying about this. They're getting mad. Centrist, by the way, this is the centrist position. And you're going to cry about this. You're going to about this, but you've got 3 more years of it. And you know what else? Whenever the next election comes around, I and a lot of other people are going to vote for somebody who is even more extreme than Trump, because I don't think Trump's doing enough. I do believe everything that I said, and I think that he should go even farther than that. They're eating the cats and dogs. Do you remember that? Do you want to know why that was an important call to action? Because it was supposed to indicate that these people are not like us. Now, in my opinion, I'd eat a cat, I'd eat a dog. If it was somebody I didn't like, I'd eat them. I don't give a but I wouldn't base morality off of the ways that I think about things. I just wouldn't. I would, like, in general, one thing I've learned in my years is that I have a moral compass, but it doesn't point north.
I do find a lot of this to be repulsive, and I do think that the average person, like, I'll keep it $1.50. If Asmongold had the same level of scrutiny from the same dedicated smear campaigners that I have, or even a fraction of the attention, I think he would be ritualistically humiliated on the timeline. Now, obviously, he is incapable of feeling shame. That's why he constantly promotes the fact that he doesn't shower, or even hypes up and embellishes how little he cares about drinking water, for example. Like, he's exaggerating. Like, he knows that that's like a marketable position for a lot of the people that also exhibit his lifestyle, that spend every waking moment online. He likes it. He likes when people go crazy over this stuff. When he says like, oh, I'm not showering because it's like my evolution or whatever. Okay? The reality of the matter is, he's been able to carve out a place for himself without actually getting a lot of scrutiny from the broader public. Most people don't know who the he is, but people online who spend every waking moment online do know who he is. You're better than doing an ad hominem, man. Brother, an ad hominem would imply that I'm name calling him. Nothing I said about Asmongold so far is something that he hasn't divulged himself. The reason why you think this is actually like name calling him is because you also are kind of embarrassed by the fact that your favorite content creator or someone that you frequently watch has horrible hygiene practices that he unironically presents and promotes as a positive. He says he lives in filth, and it's a part of his like marketing. It's a part of his brand. I see a lot of people actually looking at that and saying, well, this guy is like a multimillionaire and he still lives in the same house. He still lives in filth. Obviously, he's just doing it because he's earnest. He's doing it because this is what he truly believes. He's doing it because this is something that he cares about. He's honest. That's how they see it. No, straight up. A lot of people who also live in filth on the internet, that spend every waking moment online and very rarely go outside, look to Asmongold like he is their Christ-like figure, their savior. You don't get to see these people in the wild because many of them don't actually go outside. It's the same reason why a lot of people still look at, Warren Buffett and the fact that he still has like a modest home as opposed to how much money he has as a symbol that like Warren Buffett doesn't care about wealth like that. Even though the only thing about Warren Buffett that's relevant or worthwhile, or the only impact he has, is that he is a guy with tremendous amounts of wealth. Why is he a Christ-like figure? I'm not saying he is. I'm saying that a lot of people who have similar living conditions and similar opinions to him look to him as like a beacon of truth. Now, the reason why, and I keep repeating this, the reason why he's been able to get away with a lot of this is because the many different forces that actually would work to criticize whatever the Asmongold is saying and whatever the Asmongold is doing is far too predisposed with smearing someone like myself. That's just the reality. I am seen as a more visible target because, like, if he received a fraction of the scrutiny with the negative framing that I experience with regular frequency, when normies would have to encounter Asmongold for the first time ever, they would react with revulsion. And they would be like, this is the most insane thing I've ever seen. Most people just don't know. See, I watch Zach often while acknowledging that he's not a good role model doesn't mean he isn't authentic. Yeah, people genuinely believe that he is authentic, not realizing that none of the things that he actually promotes is long held beliefs. He doesn't give a shit. He knows he's grifting, and you guys are too stupid to recognize it. But it doesn't matter because you agree with him anyway. You agree with the way he presents these issues. But that's it. Why is he bad? I don't know. Did you just not hear what he said? He's currently hyping up a prominent, perhaps the most prominent neo-Nazi in American politics, while simultaneously saying that Donald Trump has to actually go way further than just like eliminate his political enemies in this country. Saying, I mean, he just said Donald Trump should throw mayors in gulags. If all that he wants were to happen, his lifestyle would be destroyed, he knows. No, I don't think so. I think the only thing that would destroy his goals and his ambition is a broad pendulum swing back in the direction of normal politics, back in the direction of progressive politics, and therefore people that have the same exact mindset that Asmongold has being broadly shunned in civilized society. That would ruin his brand. That would probably cause him to actually restrain himself and maybe even change the way he presents his political worldview. Just as many of these people that are seemingly sympathetic to right-wing politics back in the peak woke in the 2020 era were throwing up the black fist on the timeline talking about Black Lives Matter. It is what it is. It's not the first time that I have encountered in my career someone who presents themselves as a centrist while taking the maximalist position on the right. As a matter of fact, many of the most successful conservative commentators have come from this background. Jordan Peterson presented himself as a common sense liberal who was simply going against some of the edge cases of progressivism. We all know that Jordan Peterson is a conservative now, but for many years, people yelled at me. Same with Tim Pool. Tim Pool did the same, claiming that he was a liberal that constantly found himself enamored by Donald Trump. Tim Pool was a right-wing conservative, and yet he kept presenting himself as a centrist liberal. Dave Rubin, someone who I worked with at the Young Turks and knew very well, also did the same. So it's not new. A lot of people have done this, and a lot of people will continue to do this, okay? Grifting to the right is profitable. And not only is grifting to the right profitable, grifting to the right also creates an immediate audience for you because right-wingers don't really care. As long as you're saying the right things, that's all they want to hear. They want to hear you say Donald Trump is based. It's that simple. They don't care about your background. They don't care about your hygiene habits. They don't care if you have allegations like Russell Brand. They just want to hear someone confirm their biases. They want to hear someone say, you're not alone. A lot of people actually feel the way that you do. Okay? Yeah, they don't even care if you're trans. Look at Blair White. Exactly. They actually love marginalized groups, like people from a marginalized background. And it's quite simple. It's quite simple to do this. It's not a very difficult thing. It's not a very difficult path at all. You have an automatic audience that will tune in. Okay? I think Asmongold has always had a lot of right-wing sentiment, a lot of right-wing opinions, and some liberal opinions, maybe even some leftist opinions. But he saw the gravy train and the relevance that he could garner by leaning into Trump's popularity. Okay? That's it. And that's what he's been doing. And that's what he will continue to do. Jeez, you and your charitability, man. This is not being charitable. You guys do not understand the words I am using. I don't think you understand it. This isn't about being, first of all, I'll be charitable all the time to everyone, regardless. But there is nothing that I've said here that says Asmongold is like a good force for American politics. He does not have firm commitments. This is not me softballing what he is saying at all. He has been a corrosive influence on at least the politics of this platform. Okay? That's it. When I say he's a grifter, I'm not saying that because I'm being charitable to him. When I say he's a grifter, I'm saying that because it's the truth. And if the pendulum were to swing back to a woker environment and he realized that his audience was cratering because of the impressive amount of shame and social stigma associated with carrying the torch for this objectively unpopular and violent political movement that we know as MAGA, then he would soften his approach 100%. He would tamper down on this kind of sentiment. That's it. There is a reason why he also refuses to engage with people like myself. It's because he knows if we were to have a conversation, he would look ridiculous because he's not very knowledgeable on the issues that he speaks of, and he needs to maintain his reputation. The reality of the matter is the only way that this will turn around for him is if he received a fraction of the deranged smear campaigns that he has been a part of against someone like myself. If people were to also present his positions like this for broader audiences to see, and not simply just people who are already on board with the Trump movement, then yes, a lot more people would realize what he presents and what his movement looks like and what his audience looks like. Why would his smear campaign work on him? His audience already doesn't give a no. A lot of the politics of the likes of Asmongold and even his community is still broadly vibes based. A lot of the politics of the average Americans are broadly vibes based. They don't actually come from serious convictions or a vision for a change. Reactionary politics don't operate off of that. Okay? Especially in the United States of America. Reactionary politics is just vibes based. Right now, a lot of right-wing sentiment is shared commonly online. And those who actually oppose right-wing sentiment and have an approach towards tolerance, an approach towards emancipation for all groups, are consistently destroyed. Okay? They're destroyed. They're seen as grifters. I'm seen as a grifter. People say, oh, the positions that I have held for a decade plus are actually positions that I've held because I want to be marketable at a time when it's infinitely more marketable to be right wing. People felt under the Brandon regime as though they were being dominated by these liberal forces. They were too afraid to come out and say what their opinions are, right? They invented this environment that was actually simply social stigma for their repulsive worldview. So when Donald Trump actually won, it opened up this faucet of freedom for these guys where they were like, finally, we can actually be free to say the horrible things that we're saying. And they sought out communities where you could get away with saying that, right? That's what a lot of this revolves around. For many people, especially many people that are just like completely tuned out of politics or don't believe that they have like a real say in what happens in American politics. It was about not being able to say the R word without like HR getting mad at them. Okay? I know that sounds incredibly stupid, but for a lot of people, that is what this is. Overall, the vibes were the reason why a lot of people moved in the direction of Donald Trump. They were like, oh, I want to say slurs and without people actually yelling at me over it. Saying slurs goes hard when you don't got some dumbass in your ear yelling at you, saying you're being hateful and bigoted, you know? They don't have a lot of investment in fixing the underlying material problems that they are experiencing. You and Zach actually agree on many issues, but you will never know because it's more lucrative to y'all to talk about and around each other instead of directly to each other. I have not really talked about Asmongold, despite the fact that he's the largest political content creator on this platform for the past couple of months. In the process of me not talking about Asmongold, I'm willing to bet that he has done at least one, if not 3 videos a week about me. I've also said, by the way, this is unimaginably parasocial. You and Zach, like you guys are besties, dude. I've also said multiple times that I would talk to him directly if necessary, if he wants to do that on any number of different issues. I think for every normal position that he has 10 repulsive ones that he promotes with regular frequency. Come on, the bot saga exposed that he's not as popular as he seems. I mean, he's still pretty popular on YouTube, especially. Yeah, his response was, I don't talk to terrorists. He's also, I saw a clip yesterday where he said, you won't talk to him. You've reached out though. So he's just straight up not telling the truth or lying by omission. No, he is just straight up telling his audience an alternative version of events. There has never been a moment where I have refused to talk to Asmongold. Okay? Anytime, any place. But one must ask the question why he routinely finds different reasons as to why he won't talk. And when you're questioning that, you should also question why he consistently presents me as a terrorist, a danger, one that needs to be prosecuted by the government, and how that matches up with his supposedly pro-First Amendment values. Why would I be worried about talking to Asmongold when I was literally supposed to debate Charlie Kirk. Part of the reason why he won't do it is because, one, I think he would be embarrassed. And the other reason why he doesn't want to do it, I discovered my mechanic watches him and I heard him listen to Zach react to a clip of you. And I said, he sure likes to talk about Hasan. And the guy, of course, said it's mutual. I said, it's your job to analyze the media, but after half his viewers were boss is seen as a less pressing matter. Don't you get tired of learning about the world from uneducated to shut-in? And he started ranting about Charlie Kirk. I live in Norway. Oh, yeah, he is a stranglehold on the Euro audience, I think. I think there is a very big contingency of like the European right that literally have tailored themselves off of the MAGA movement and fantasize about being American right-wingers. 100%. There's a reason why you see MAGA hats and shit, MAGA merch in places all around the world, including in like South Korea.
This is controversial, but they have to crush the other side.
That's right. Oh, that's right. 100%.
You have to, because you can do one of two things. You cannot challenge the left.
That's
and
right.
let them do their thing.
And then they're going to just run you over, and eventually when they get power, they're going to crush you.
Or you can utterly confront them and defeat them. And
I'm going to crush all these people with universal health care. I'm going to crush all these people with free college. I'm going to crush all these people by breaking up monopolies that ruin every facet of existence, including even in the publisher sector, in the video game industry. That's how we're going to crush them. That's it. That's what it is. We're going to crush these guys by ending American militarism around the world. But they're not invested in that stuff. That's it. That's the point. They're invested in a culture of domination. They just simply want to dominate their opposition instead of taking a cold, hard look at why many Americans feel discontent with the way things are going. They choose to immediately shift the blame over to the gay wokes that have destroyed their lives. They've destroyed the video game industry. It is not the pervasive influence of capital that has made it so that video game companies can experience record high profits and then engage in layoffs. It's actually the gay wokes. It's not the fact that these guys are simply trying to farm as much money as possible from the existing base of gamers, for example, by selling them loot boxes and things of that nature, battle passes. It's the gay wokes. It's always the gay wokes that are ruining video games, even though the gay wokes have always been in video games from the beginning. Yeah, they will complain about capitalism. They just don't acknowledge it's capitalism working as intended. No, that's exactly what it is. And they're so malleable. They're so easy to dupe. All it takes is for Donald Trump, who with his tariffs regime has unironically made gaming consoles and all things that are pertinent to gaming, peripherals, everything else, much more costly for the American consumer, for the American gamer. All it takes is for Donald Trump to turn around and be like, I'm Master Chief. And then they go, hell yeah, brother. That's it. It's the small shit for small-minded people who don't have the capacity to think bigger. It's children and also adults who have the processing capacity of children. He talks about you 3 or 4 times per stream. I've counted myself yesterday. I'm sure he talks about me quite a bit. I have a vision for what I think must be done in American politics. I have a vision for a future, and I'm invested in the actual politics of it all, which is why I spend my time focusing on that. He does not. He has to have enemies that he presents himself as dominating. He's not the only one that does this. Many people on the right do that. Reactionaries need something to oppose because they don't have a clear-cut agenda or a real vision for what a better future looks like. Look at fascism. The logical conclusion of reactionary politics is fascism. There's a reason why fascist movements are suicidal, because inevitably you run out of people to kill or you die before you eradicate all of your opposition, all of your enemies, as you design a society with an increasingly shrinking in-group, as you seek out utter domination of the entirety of the out-group. That is the maximalist position of the reactionary. He mentioned you 373 times on his YouTube channel, including every day this month. 373 times. I would say that there's a bit of a disparity, don't you think? Here, let's look. Wait, hold on. I want to look at this. How do I do this? So 373 clips on Hasan, and then let's do Asmongold. But this time on my channel, okay? Hasanabi. Okay, this is not correct. Because I've definitely brought up Asmongold. I think his name doesn't come up on transcript. It's spelled differently. Maybe that's the reason. What does the transcript pick up Asmongold as? That's probably what the problem is. Asmongold? Wait, let's see. Maybe that's better. Okay, that is probably better. Yeah, Asmongold is because gold is, I could be talking about like actual gold, like the metal. 76 clips in the lifetime of the channel. Let's see, Asmon. 92. Asmon is better. Oh, that's not for 1 month. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure this is the lifetime of the channel. Oh, no, it's from 2005 to 2025. What is this? In the filters, right? Languages, English, countries, United States. Yeah, this is the lifetime of the channel. No, this is the right one. Since it started. So if you scroll back far enough, it's probably me defending him too. Believes that it's code. Even Asmongold doesn't think that the president thinks that it literally has the letters MS1 and 3 on his fucking knuckles. And if you go back far enough, it's like me defending him. So he's done 300. Maybe try your mods to show how many times you said it on stream. Read my logs, please. It's probably not too late. Brother, you have 2 more days to do spooky gaming. It's not too late. You can still make it. Thank you. But are you not more of a political person than him? I am. That's precisely the reason why I say I don't talk about him all that much, as opposed to how much he talks about me, despite the fact that he is a right-wing figure. And you go back far enough, like the first time I talk about him directly is February 2024. The transcript asked me when you say his name. Yeah, that's why I found it. It's better than gold. Is he still a Trumper after these past several months? Yes, he is. Yes, of course. Type Asmon. No, Asmon shows 0 results. The transcript doesn't read Asmongold as Asmon.
Destroy them completely. Destroy everything about them. Put the mayors in jail. Put the governors up on the Insurrection Act for sedition. Put all of the people that were doing the shit in front of the detention centers. Put them in mandatory prison labor camps. Any of them that are violent, authorize the police officers to respond with violence to them. Immediately, completely shut it down. Bring in the military if you need to. Bring in the National Guard.
Like, yeah, imagine
that.
Imagine the people who supposedly, quote unquote, care about anti-Semitism that have literally tried to, with a fine-tooth comb, go through my chat every time I'm covering anything related to Israel, would actually look at Asmongold's chat in the same way, for example, where apparently his chat is spamming base when Nick Fuentes is talking about organized Jewry.
The main challenge to that, a big challenge to that, is organized Jewry in America. I don't.
How many views does this have on YouTube?
He's right. Based. Oh, he's alting. Can he say that?
2.3 million views, and on Twitter it has 10. Like, this is something that's probably been seen 20 million times. It's a lot.
I think Bill Ackman is capable of that. I don't think Sheldon Adelson is capable of that. I don't think Yoram Hazony is capable of that, for that matter. And many other, on the right and the left. And I see it. I see Jewishness as the common denominator. And you're right. It's not all Jewish people feel the same way. No one would say that, but that does seem to be the common denominator. And I just feel like it needs to be called out explicitly. And I like what you said. If the other day, if you're serving in another country's military or have dual citizenship, you really can't be a part of this.
Just a reminder that at a time when there's an unprecedented level of anti-Semitic hate, the ADL finds me to be a bigger problem and a bigger threat than even Nick Fuentes. Asmongold has called you a terrorist for less than this. Oh, for sure. They also say I'm anti-Semitic because they don't believe anything. They don't believe anything at all. They just know that this is a good way to do harm to someone who you have declared as a political enemy. So they'll go along with it. I mean, Nick Fuentes went on Tucker Carlson, and the ADL spent yesterday talking about Zoran Mamdani. If you want to know what they're focused on, that's it.